Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we're still dealing with a little bit of a market pullback, but no like crashy type stuff, nothing scary or crazy. So I'm moving on, but I want to show you this. Dark Vendor had put this out this morning. As promised, another long-term XRP chart is prepared for you that's very similar to the one from February 21. And so I wanted to show you this. He's got $3.31. This is from 2018. He's showing around where the all-time high was, and he is showing for it looks like 2022. He's pointing at $150. And then if you go back down here, he put this one out on when was that? February the 26th. Now look at the freaking numbers that he's drawing up here. If you look, let's see, back in here is the all-time high. He's drawing this thing all the way, and he's doing it in euro, but the dollar figures are here. So that's 125. Then he's got, let's see, $700. And then he's got 8,500. I like where he's going with this. I sure hope that that he is right. I can tell you this. I'm not predicting any of these things, but I can tell you this. I came to this party from this up. Okay, I'm not at this party. I'm here to build dynasties. I'm not here to make $1 million. That's not what I'm here for. I've been waiting for 8 years. I'm in the, you remember, if many of you, I was a huge fan of Breaking Bad, and one of my favorite scenes is when he's asking the kid what business he's in, and he doesn't say the word dynasty. I'm trying to think of what the word, he says, I'm in the empire business, when he had really gone psycho over the edge. I always thought that was a classic line. That and I am the danger. And then there was one or two more. But I wanted to show you this. So yesterday I had tweeted this out, and this was BitBoy, and he was saying that he thinks this is all a ruse, and he said that the Slack communications, that issue with Ripple was there was basically a settlement being worked on with the SEC and Ripple having to do with Slack communications, and he's saying basically he thinks this is over by September 15th. Jeremy Hogan, I think, is politely disagreeing with him. I can add is this: settlement of this case would be very complicated and could take months because Ripple's business model requires liquid markets, and therefore it's not as simple as we will pay X. Settlement would require input from exchanges and third-party business partners. And I totally kind of see where Jeremy Hogan's coming from here. But as long as this guy keeps saying that, here's the way I see this. I think it's fascinating. I always find it fascinating when I see people that have, this guy's got over 1 million subscribers, so he's got a reputation at this point to uphold. When a guy like that is putting his reputation on the line, giving you a date of mid-September on something like this, it gets my attention, and I think it's fascinating. I think it makes it a lot more fun to watch this thing play out. I hope he's right, and if he is right, we're all going to be happy. If he's wrong, I'll be the first to point out that he was wrong. But in the meantime, it's very interesting to me to watch this unfold. This is from Gold Telegraph. Breaking news: Federal Reserve officials discuss the potential threat stablecoins could have on financial stability. Please read my thread. All right. Then I put this out yesterday afternoon, and I think that it's very interesting. in this clip, you're going to see a clip at the beginning when Gary Gensler's interviewing Tim Draper. You're going to see another clip of that at the end. But in between, here's what you're going to see. Having gone back and listened to hundreds of, probably, at least tens of hours of, maybe hundreds of hours of Ethereum video, after having done that, what I have put together is, and this is not me talking, this is just from clips I've found. I've got clips I've put at the scene when Ethereum was created. I have placed people who went to MIT, people that went to Harvard, people who were at JP Morgan, and people that were at Goldman Sachs. But you don't have to take my word for it. You get to watch this video and listen. And the guy in the first clip that's talking is Mike Novogratz in an interview. And then at the end, you're going to see Charles Hoskinson, who was one of the founders of Ethereum, talking back in 2014. Enjoy. Come on. I had it set up perfect, and then I'd have to do the refresh.
Jamie Dimon, so let's bring it back to Jamie and JP Morgan. What do you think is going to be the thing that they will have to change the most?
I had the sound down.
Jamie Dimon, so let's bring it back to Jamie and JP Morgan. What do you think is going to be the thing that they will have to change the most or lose market share and somebody else is going to do better, faster, serve their clients better than JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs?
I went to a friend's office in Brooklyn when I had gone on TV and talked about Bitcoin. He had emailed me from Barbados. He was coding something called Ethereum, and he was like, "Oh, forget about Bitcoin. I'm so proud of you." And I was like, "Geez, kind of strange." But I decided to go see him because I was looking at my portfolio, which had kind of gone stale, and trying to figure out what to do. And that's when I had this aha moment. I walked in there thinking I was going to find him and like a crippled dog and maybe an assistant. And he had 25, 30 people from 35, 40-year-old JP Morgan derivative sales guys that had left to 17 and 19-year-old coders from Stanford and Harvard and MIT.
MIT is where Gary Gensler's from.
The Ethereum team is really one of the most remarkable that I've ever had the privilege of working on. It's a wonderful mix of both old and new. There are some senior software developers, people who work for Goldman Sachs off Wall Street.
And they wrap their arms together and they say, "We're not letting this happen." And then it keeps going. And then they say, "Okay, well, let's go after, let's sue them. Or let's go get the government."
There's another thing too. They adopt the technology. I think.
No, that's at the end.
They will adopt this technology.
No, this is the last thing they do. No.
Gensler sure is defensive about JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and the incumbents.
It's after the press planning. They plant the press stories. They put out lawsuits. They create as much of a fuss as possible. They try to get their government friends involved. And then they go, "Oh, God, this thing's happening."
So, to summarize, we know for a fact, because Mike Novogratz and Charles Hoskinson said so, we know for a fact that there were people from JP Morgan and from Goldman Sachs on the Ethereum team when it was created. I believe that's very telling because the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, I've said it many times on this channel, he said nothing happens without Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. And these guys have spent the last 3 or 4 years acting like, we don't know what's going to happen with this crypto thing, or it's going to disappear, or this. And I don't think that's a coincidence. And I also think that what Tim Draper just said is not a coincidence either. Okay, John Deaton, speaking of coincidences, he says, what about members of the Ethereum Alliance and partners at Simpson Thacher? Did they have advance notice of the June 2018 Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities speech? He's talking about the Hinman speech. And he's retweeting this. U.S. SEC federal prosecutors charge former Netflix staffers with insider trading. And then there's this. Now, look, most of the time I think what Anthony Pompliano says doesn't make any sense. But what he says in this video, you just go ahead and write it down, folks. Because, yeah, we're all here to make money on digital assets, but I can tell you for myself, I'm here to make money on digital assets. I'm here to get as wealthy as I can so that I can possibly, not for sure, but possibly protect my children and my family from what I see forming. And what I see forming is a lot of the creepy stuff that he says in this video. And the way I see it is the digital asset, digital asset space. This is the way I've seen it for a long time. It's coming whether you like it or not. So you can choose to either ignore it, stick your head in the sand, and not try to become wealthy off of it, and then a lot of good and really bad things are going to come from this. Okay, make no mistake. And he's about to describe some of the bad. But you can either do nothing, or possibly, maybe, at least insulate yourself by getting a little wealthy. That's kind of the way I see this, because I think there's a lot of crazy, scary things coming. I think you're living a lot of them right now. And I don't think any of it's an accident. Watch.
These central bank digital currencies, this is, the digital dollar, etc. Those are technology innovations, but the monetary policy is the exact same, right? What Bitcoin did was it innovated on monetary policy.
Will it be possible to have a centralized, obviously it won't run exactly as Bitcoin, but is it possible that a replacement is a centralized coin?
So what I think ends up happening is every single country in the world that has a fiat currency is going to create a digital version. So there will be a digital dollar, digital euro, digital yuan, etc.
China is doing that, right?
They're all doing it. The problems with that, I think there's three problems. One is you drastically increase financial surveillance. Right now, if I want to know what's in your bank account, I got to go to a FISA court or whatever and get an order to subpoena your bank records, right? If they control the system, they can see in your account and what everything you spend on. Really scary stuff, especially in authoritarian countries, but even here in the US. The second thing is that they can personalize the monetary policy. So everything in your life is personalized, your news feed, your search results, your music playlist, your Google Maps, everything. If all of a sudden I can say Darren gets a high rate of inflation and Pomp doesn't, or Darren has to experience something from a monetary policy standpoint and Pomp doesn't, scary. The third thing is, and China just ran a test here, and we have it in the US with EBT cards, is what if they make the money expire? So say, we're going to move to a UBI system, and every month Darren's going to get $1,200. But you can...
All right, I'm going to stop there because that's the one I think is going to happen first. Digital currencies, I believe, are going to bring in expiration of money. In other words, the way that all these people out there have been getting bailouts, think about how easy it would be for the government to say, okay, so we've got a bad situation now, but don't worry, we're going to airdrop money to the population. And what they're going to do is they're going to drop it, but they're going to say, oh, well, since we gave it to you, we can tell you how you can use it. And they're going to say, if you don't spend it on this, and this, then we'll just take it back from you. That way they can engineer the economy and make you spend money on whatever they want you to spend money on. And that is creepy as all get out. But that's the beginning, in my opinion. That's the beginning of what's going to come once they have all these CBDCs. Now look, I've said it for a long time. I've covered Ripple and XRP for a long time, and I've always hoped that what this is the good guys, and I've always hoped that there are completely good intentions aligned with a lot of this digital currency stuff. But make no mistake, there will be governments who incorporate evil with this stuff. There's no question about that. Maybe that's why you need to be religious. I don't know, because there's a lot of bad people that are going to use this. You can use technology for good or evil, and I think it's going to be used for both. That's my summary there. Okay, now Vitalik Buterin was interviewed on Bloomberg yesterday. Watch, I'll just show some of this. Every time I hit the refresh button, check this out.
He's the engineer widely recognized as the inventor of Ethereum. Vitalik Buterin is also my guest on the latest edition of Bloomberg Studio 1.0. We spoke about the future of decentralized finance, the threat
Let's get to him.
Them have definitely been just wrong already, right? Like they expected even back in 2013 to 15, at least some of them, to see blockchains and cryptocurrency fail and go down to zero in price and just not get any more interest completely. And even today, they've already been far more successful than any of them expected. So I can see how people in traditional finance, or at least some of them, can be inclined to kind of not see the value of blockchain-based finance immediately. There's a lot of people, even in traditional banks, that see the value that blockchains provide and have been trying to come up with things and work with them.
One of them is Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey recently announced Square is creating a new business focused on decentralized financial services based on Bitcoin, using Bitcoin. What have you learned about Jack Dorsey's plans? Does it seem like he's building something that sounds a lot like Ethereum?
I'm skeptical about these decentralized finance on top of Bitcoin type of projects. Basically because like the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? This is that on Ethereum, there's like native functionality that
All right, I'm not going to bore you with all of that talk. I think it's ridiculous that Jack Dorsey's wanting to hitch his wagon to Bitcoin myself. But anyway, I want to remind you that you are looking at a billionaire who became a billionaire by selling a security through an ICO, which is an initial coin offering, pre-sale, whatever you want to call it. And at the time, even the SEC, even in Hinman's speech, they admit that it was a security when it was being sold. And he's a billionaire off of it, and he has never had to pay a penny in fines to the SEC or anybody else. Just wanted to give you that for the record. Now, yesterday Coinbase had announced this, that they've launched in Japan. Now, I don't know why, but when I saw this, I remembered that Catherine Hahn was on the board of directors at Coinbase, and I remembered, this is just what popped in my head. I wanted to remind you all, she's also on the board of directors at Andreessen Horowitz, one of the first investors in Ripple in 2013. Now, what's the significance of Catherine Hahn? Well, she was the assistant U.S. attorney who signed off on Ripple's FinCEN settlement in 2015, where FinCEN, a division of the U.S. Treasury, called XRP a virtual currency. It's on a document signed by her assistant U.S. attorney. It's an agreement. I mean, if anything is a get out of jail free card, that is. And that is part of the absurdity of this whole SEC lawsuit. Now, because that reminded me of that, I also wanted to show you, well, first let me show you this from the Cryptic Poet. Coinbase teams up with Ripple partner Mitsubishi, MUFG, as a part of this launch in Japan. And you'll see here, MUFG joins Ripple's Global Payment Steering Group. So they've been a long-time Ripple partner. Well, back to Andreessen Horowitz. I wanted to remind everybody, a special advisor to Andreessen Horowitz, and remember, Andreessen Horowitz invested in Ripple in 2013, is Bill Hinman himself. And here it says Bill spearheaded the SEC's early work with digital assets and made critical contributions that provided clarity to companies operating in the space. Well, I still don't have any clarity on Ethereum because he didn't give us clarity. He gave his personal opinion. That's according to him in the Ripple lawsuit. Then we also have this guy who's a special advisor at Andreessen Horowitz right beside him. Look at this guy, Brent McIntosh. He was Undersecretary of the Treasury for International Affairs, Look what he also was. He's the guy that co-wrote Crypto Needs Regulation, but it doesn't need new rules. And he wrote it with Jay Clayton for the Wall Street Journal. It's a small world, isn't it? I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that it is one small world, and all the world could be a stage here, folks.